You're live with Stacy Washington here on Now on Salem News Channel, and we're welcoming in Chris Burgard, Chief Strategic Officer at His Glory TV. Oh my goodness, Chris, we have so much to discuss. So tell us, what is His Glory TV?
So, His Glory TV, we're an online ministry, and we're founded by Pastor Dave Starlett, who, interesting story, he died of botulism. He was a big corporate executive, but he's a former Marine, died of botulism, and God sent him back and said, "Hey, you're not going to stay here. You're going to go back and work for me." So that's how we founded His Glory Ministries, and our mission at His Glory Ministries is to bring a billion souls to Christ and to bring the truth of the world to everybody. Our online platform is a mixture of scripture, breaking news, and documentaries and films that will show you the truth that the mainstream media will not.
I love it. So I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to come today. And I want to start off. You just shared with me before we jumped in here on air that you have been down to the border of our country. What did you see when you went?
Okay, so I've worked the border for 19 years. In 2005, I made a movie called Border. I was embedded with the Minutemen, with Border Patrol, with local sheriff's departments, and groups on the left, Sin Fronteras, stuff like that. That's screened for both houses of Congress. I was just down on the border this weekend speaking. They had the convoy down to the border to take our border back convoy, and that was a very outstanding event because for the first time since January 6th, Americans got together to do a large rally. People have been afraid ever since January 6th. It's put the fear of God in them. If you go to protest, you go to practice your First Amendment speech, you're going to get arrested. The big difference that I can tell you at the border now, after working the border for 19 years, is the cargo. In the old days, when we would track the bad guys through the desert and catch the cartel loads, we called them mules, mule trains. They were usually packing dope, sometimes pot, sometimes heroin. They're still doing that, but the biggest money maker that we catch them doing now is children. And just this last August, I was down with these pictures you're showing. That's Eagle Pass, Texas. I was just on the other side of that reservoir. What you're looking there, that's Operation Lone Star. That's Texas DPS. I was just north of that when a group came across. It was a woman, a teenager, and 6 children. And the woman was a Hispanic woman, didn't speak English, and she was carrying an African American baby. It was clearly not her child, but she said, "Oh, this is mi niño." And I said, "No, no, it's no su niño." And she just broke into tears because she knew that I knew that she was trafficking that child and that entire group. The cartels had used her to get these kids across the river. And I can't tell you how evil the border is now under the Biden administration. Every day that border is open, people are dying, and it's being camouflaged by a massive humanity that the mainstream media doesn't want you to see. And that's the kind of stuff at His Glory that we take the cameras down and we show you what's really happening. And I will tell you this: that the event, were afraid to go to this border event, taking the border back with convoy because they were afraid of J6. I can tell you firsthand that there were attempts to do exactly at this event at what happened to January 6th. January 6th was a hijacked event. It was meant for a whole other agenda, and over a million MAGA people that went there, their event was hijacked. They attempted to do this just this last weekend in Quemado, Texas. Fortunately, Texas DPS and some very patriotic former military veterans that are now influencers, independent journalists. They were able to come up with information. The DPS was able to thwart what was going on down there. So it was a very, very interesting weekend. And so that's why at His Glory we have so much on. We have the movie Capital Punishment, which is the most censored movie in America. Capital Punishment, everything about January 6th they told you was a lie. We're partnering up with Laura Logan with her story, with her series, The Rest of the Story. You can see that on Friday nights at 9. You can see it Tuesdays. Laura is a heck of a reporter. We love having her in the His Glory family. And I'm talking so much. My wife says I ramble, and by heck, she's right.
Well, the information is excellent, and I'm so glad to have you here to share it with our audience here. And I want to capitalize on something, and we have a few minutes here left to kind of wrap on this, and that is you have all of us now can breathe a sigh of relief and say, yeah, I knew it all along. I told you so, about the J6 committee admitting that the trials that they were kind of executing for the cameras were actually an election year publicity stunt. We know they were. We could feel it in our gut. There was a fakeness to it that just was undeniable. But now we have the actual admission. Talk to me a little bit about this.
So, Stacy, it's knowledge is power, and we are living in the greatest information war this country and possibly the planet has ever seen. And what you just saw is what intelligence agencies or the military is called a psyop. What they did, the J6, we knew it was fake, and now they've admitted it. We are actually living in a world where conspiracy theories are now the new spoiler alerts. Okay, look how many people for 3 years were told they were crazy about that. And here now they've admitted it. Why? Because the footage is coming out, they're backed up, and the truth is going to come out. When the truth about January 6th comes out, as you saw in Capital Punishment, and as you're going to see in our follow up movie, we'll be coming out with it, His Glory, The War and Truth. It's the sequel to Capital Punishment. I wasn't going to make a sequel, but when the FBI came and investigated me and said that I was a terrorist threat to the United States of America for making Capital Punishment, that was kind of God's way of tapping me on the shoulder and saying, go make this movie, go make the sequel. But what you're going to see in all of this, when all the truth comes out, and it may take a couple more months, maybe take another year or two, the American people are going to be shocked, absolutely shocked at what a staged event this was to steal the government of the United States of America.
Yeah, and I think the other part that is a huge travesty about J6 is the number of grannies and 20-year-old guys who, and everybody in between, who they've been in jail for over 1,000 days. Some of them have had zero due process. Others are being held so that they can force a confession out of them for something they didn't do. um, you normally don't go to prison for trespassing charges, and that's what's happened here. Give everyone the website for His Glory TV. I know people would love to be able to check you out and become a part of what you're doing.
Go to hisglory.me. It's just hisglory.me, and watch the film Capital Punishment. Watch Lara Logan's The Rest of the Story, and watch for The War and Truth, which will be coming out soon. And gosh, I just hope you have a blessed day. I hope your weather's good there in Missouri. And
Yeah, we have
hope
some fantastic weather this week, all in the 50s, which is pretty good for the Midwest. We're so grateful. We love Lara. Lara Logan is amazing. And Chris, we're so glad to have you here. We'll talk to you again soon here on Stacy Washington Now. More coming up next. Stay right there.